This is 6.4, lesson 1. So for this lesson, we are going to square root and cube root numbers. So we said the square root is the positive solution to the equation x squared plus p. Could such an equation have a negative solution? So for example, if we said x squared equals 9, then x would equal 3 because 3 squared equals 9. However, couldn't x also equal negative 3? Doesn't negative 3 times negative 3 also equal positive 9? So whenever we're looking at these, we see that if my answer is 1, negative 1 squared and positive 1 squared would equal 1. Negative 2 squared and positive 2 squared would equal 4. So what does that mean if we now have two solutions? Well, here's what it's going to look like. So if my problem is x squared equals 1 and I want to figure out what x is, it's like solving a problem. To get rid of a squared, I have to do the opposite, which means I take the square root. Squares and square roots cancel each other out, so I get x equals. Now the square root of 1 is both positive and negative 1. So we use this sign in front that shows that our answer is both positive 1 and negative 1. So letter B. Again, we're going to square root both sides. Our squares and square roots cancel so that we get x is both positive and negative 2. Letter C, we square root both sides. My squared and square root cancel, so I get x is both positive and negative 5. Letter D, square root both sides. Our squares and square roots cancel, so I get x is positive negative 7. Letter E, we square root both sides. My squares and square roots cancel. I can think of this as the square root of 1 over the square root of 100. So x is going to equal positive negative 1 over 10. And then our last one, again, we square root both sides. My squares and square root cancels. I can think of this as square root of 25 over the square root of 100. So this is going to be x is positive negative 5 over 10, which is simplifies to positive negative 1/2. So if this sign is a square root, then when I put a 3 here, it's called a cube root. So whenever I have the cube root of a number, it means that we're trying to find the solution to the equation x to the third power equals p, or what to the third power equals the number inside that cube root sign. So let's start by finding 10 perfect cubes. So 1 cubed is 1 times 1 times 1, which is 1. 2 cubed is 2 times 2 times 2, which is 8. 3 cubed is 27. 4 cubed is 64. 5 cubed is 125. 6 cubed is 216. 7 cubed is 343. 8 cubed is 512. 9 cubed is 729. And 10 cubed is 1,000. So if I were to ask you for the cube root of 1, you would tell me that it's 1. The cube root of 8 is 2. Cube root of 0.008 means what to the third power would equal that, and that's 0.2. Same thing, you can do cube root of fractions. Cube root of 1 is 1, cube root of 8 is 2. Something I want you to notice, though, is that none of these answers are both positive and negative. So let's think about that for a second. If I were to do negative 1 times negative 1 times negative 1, I would do negative 1 times negative 1 is a positive 1, but I still have to multiply it by another negative 1. So that would give me negative 1 as an answer. Well, I asked for the cube root of positive 1. If I cube negative 1, I get negative 1 as an answer. So cube roots always have positive answers. So notice that cubes, or perfect cubes, are rational numbers. Whereas cube roots that are not perfect cubed are irrational numbers. So just like the same it was for square roots, it's going to be the same for cube roots. So let's simplify. The cube root of 27 is 3. Cube root of 64, if you use your page on front, is 4. Cube root of 1 over 27 is 1 over 3. Cube root of 8 over 25 is 2 over 5. So let's connect this to equations. So we need to solve. In order to get rid of a cubed, just like a square, we have to do a cube root. And we have to do a cube root on both sides. So our cubes and cube roots are going to cancel. I get x equals 1. I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to cube root both sides. Cubes and cube roots cancel. The cube root of 8 is 2. So we're going to do the same thing down here. We're going to do the cube root on both sides. Cubes and cube roots cancel. We get x equals 8. And then letter h, again, we'll cube root both sides. And we get x is 3 over 4. So the biggest difference between square roots and cube roots, square roots are both positive and negative. Which means you have 2 answers to square roots. Cube roots take the sign of the number inside. So we have one answer, and let me show you what that means by the number inside. So if I were to find the cube root of negative 8, that would be negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2 would be negative 8. So my answer here is actually just negative 2.